Building a photo project is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 15 minutes or less, starting now. Hello, everyone, and welcome. So I'm on location, so the audio may be off slightly, and I apologize for that. We're going to work on building a really neat photo project, all right? And I want to give you 3 tips that I like to use, or 3 questions I ask myself when I do this, and then I'll give you a couple examples on how I used it. Well, the first one is to start with just one clear idea. Give each photo a reason. The second one is plan the shoot. Know what you need before you start. And then the third one is create one consistent look. So that's what we're going to use Luminar Neo to make the images feel like they're connected. All right? So those 3 again are start with one clear idea, plan the shoot, and then of course for the editing part of it, create one consistent look, and this is where you'll create a preset. All right? Now, I'll give you an example. I did a butterfly shoot. So I started with one clear idea. What's the project? Well, wings of color. That's what I named it. I want to photograph butterflies in a way that shows their color, detail, and just their delicate beauty. Plan the shoot. So for this project, I asked myself, what do I need? Well, where are the butterflies going to be active? That's where I went to Butterfly Garden here in Florida, and I went to different locations inside the butterfly garden to capture the ones I wanted. Now, what time of day has softer light? Here in Florida, I'm not going to want to shoot at around noon or 1 p.m. So we went earlier in the morning, stayed, and then relaxed, did some other stuff, then came back again around 4 or 5. What lenses will help me get close to it? And then how to photograph them without disturbing them. So that was the project. Then, to create the consistent look, I told myself, well, what do I want? Well, I want to create Wings of Color preset in Luminar Neo to keep the colors more natural. I want the wings to have detail and sharp, and just the overall look to be soft and connected. So that was the goal, to get all that down. Now, I did do another project, and this project I'm going to show you is I used the same 3 ideas to where I planned it, and then from here I had to make sure I knew exactly what I needed for the shoot, and then of course I created the presets. For this particular shoot, I wanted to see if I could photograph people who have never been photographed before. So I wanted to take people who are not models. And what that did for me, which was really cool, is it broke off into another project, like this year, for example, the Aviator series. So I photographed all these people in different positions for the Aviator, but I got them because I did the first shoot, how to photograph people who never photographed before. Then it fell into the tank series. And here my buddy, they own tanks, and so we grabbed the same people, turned them into models, and did a series on the tank. Then I did the Assassin series. From here, I just took people again they're not models, they've never stood in front of the camera, and I wanted to see what I could do to make them look like they were models. And then, of course, my sports. So this is the one that really helped me create the sports grit look. Here's my son. And then I took off of the sports, instead of doing lacrosse, football, soccer. Then we did fencing. We also did ballet. We also did volleyball. So I broadened it a little bit further. And then, of course, I did weightlifting or weight training also. And then I did the Crown series. I love this one. And it was a simple shoot, a very simple shoot, to where we had the person looking down. And the way I captured this was literally one light with a reflector. And I wanted to see if we could take a person who's never been photographed and then put it into a scene like this. This I got inspired by the Netflix series, The Crown. So that's what we did there. Now, let's stick with, let's get rid of that. Let's stick with the sports grit look for a moment. All right? So going back to what we said about the project, for the sports grit look, again, where do I find these people, first of all? And that's something I should have mentioned. So for the session that I did on photographing people who've never been photographed before, well, where do you find those people? Family, friends. I went out to eat quite a bit back then, so I went to different restaurants. The servers. I would talk to the servers, and the servers would be excited, and we'd photograph them. Well, then word started to spread, and people would actually stop me, whether it was at a restaurant or out the street, and say, hey, aren't you doing that whole series on people who've never been photographed as a model? My child is this, or I have a cousin, or I would love to be part of it. So once you start getting into these projects, people are going to be excited to want to start doing them with you. All right? So with the sports grit look, you've seen me do this many times. Well, what do I need? I want this to be a consistent look all the way through to where I can achieve this look on not just one person, but on multiple people. So let's go down to the creative tools. And of course, dramatic is my favorite tool here that's going to do this. So look how we're going to take this image and we're going to transport it into, look at that. There's that grid look. It's giving me exactly what I needed. I love that. Then that broke off into, well, what if we did this? What if not only do we do the grid look here, right? But what if we start doing compositions to where, in fact, let me just select all of them, and I'm going to merge this. And in this case here, project, go off into another project, thinking, okay, well, this is great. I love doing the grid look on individuals. I love doing the team photos. Well, what if we did individuals like this? Now, this honestly was inspired from the old-fashioned Joe Namath. I saw this beautiful image of Joe Namath. He's throwing a football. Behind him is his name on his jersey with his number, right? And so that's what, came up here. So now we just combine the two. Now, I would have saved, in fact, let's just do it. Right-click, adjustments, copy, and paste. And now I'm having one consistent look all the way through onto the scene. Now let's see this right here. I think there we go. Oh, you know what? Because I added a preset, I made a slight mistake there. Therefore, it overwrote what I actually had, but no big deal. We'll just go through it real quick. So by the way, doing this, real simple. I'm going to duplicate the bottom layer, move it to the top, then mask, and then from here, portrait background removal. I'm going to remove the bottom, and that's going to punch a hole down into the bottom. And there we have it. And then, of course, we'll take this and just dial it way back, right about here. And then, of course, we'll continue with the mask. Erase. There we go. And now, there we have it. I got my look. And I'm going to dial it back just a little bit more. There we have it. All right. And then, there's our image. So, the point I'm getting at is, it is very important that once you set your criteria, don't be so rigid that I have to stick just to this. Sometimes it'll spawn off into other things. So that one project I had, how can I photograph people who've never been photographed before, broke off into the Assassin series, the Sports Grit Look series, the Assassin Sports Grid look, the Tank series, the Crown series. So do you see how you pick something and then you let it evolve and learn to be open to where it's not going to prevent you from being stuck in one area. Now, to pull myself out of my creative box that I'm usually in, I decided to do butterflies. That's not something I normally do. So I teamed up with my cousin, my goddaughter, and a few other people, and we just spent a day at a beautiful butterfly garden, and we worked on different ways to photograph these, but we started with a clear plan. This is what we wanted to accomplish, so by the time we left that area, we had all the images we needed. All right? Well, I hope that helps you to where you can start planning your next project. And please, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. If you want this to be a little bit, if you want to go a little bit further into it, or if you have ideas and you're stuck, by all means, reach out. Now, Skylum is doing something really cool. Let me see if I have it right here. Nope, that's not it. I'm so sorry. Let me get back to it. It's, I believe, here. Nope, one more. There we are. All right. So we have a Luminar challenge. This is so cool. Follow that link, and can you decide, can you see what's real and what's AI? So our team created just a little app, and they put in there a bunch of regular images, and they put in AI images. And your goal is to test your photography eye to see what's real and what's AI. This is going to help you realize real photos still matter. Real photos still matter. Take that challenge. In fact, I was talking to my buddy, Scott Kelby. And there we go. I was talking to my buddy, Scott Kelby, and Kelby and I had a long discussion about this. AI is not replacing us. Because think about this. Why do you take photos? You're out there with other people. You're out there photographing what you love. You're spending time doing a passion. The editing part is just a small part of photography. AI is not going to replace us because you have a lot of fun out there photographing it. So again, take that challenge and let me know how you're doing with it. All right? So if you're here, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.